Is that Chris?
Check. 1 2 1 2. Welcome back to another episode of Around the Bar. Should I even say welcome back to another episode? Since the last episode was over a year ago. It's very late at night right now, and I was just kind of in the mood to talk. I've been toying with the idea, not even toying. I've started the process of backlogging some content so that whenever we start uploading on this channel again, that we'll do it at a more consistent basis. But I wanted to just start it out with Around the Bar. I'm turning Around the Bar. I'm kind of taking what the mentality I had with the Flycast and always trying to think of different things. We'll talk about the Flycast and Nick and everything later, but trying to take that mentality and just apply it to Around the Bar. So just make this like a sort of a podcast series, like my personal podcast series, rather than just like a rant video, which is what it was prior. And have guests on and really like go for it, like really go for it. Maybe, start putting these up on different platforms and really, I really love podcasting. I love talking. I love expressing my opinions on things. The only issue lately is this nose shit. Good God, man. It's been so bad lately. But I'm in the process of finding a new ear, nose, and throat doctor and starting that whole transition, or starting that whole process over again that I did 7 years ago. But I mean, it is so bad now. It's not. I can't stand hearing myself really on camera anymore. Like sometimes it's not that bad. I maybe you guys can't tell the difference. It just always sounds like I'm fucking holding my nose and talking, but for me, I can tell a difference, and it also, I feel like pathetic almost whenever I get out of breath just from talking or just from walking down the hallway, but I legitimately can't breathe through my nose. So we're figuring all that out. It's definitely the worst it's ever been, though. I went to urgent care a few days ago, and she literally grabbed the flashlight, said, "Say ah," looked in back of my throat, I guess because of all like the drip and stuff and coughing. And she was like, "Ooh, wow, you look like you're miserable." And I was like, "Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that." But nah, I had to figure out Texas insurance, which is health insurance, which is so much different than North Carolina. But we finally figured it out. And we're starting that process probably when we get back from Christmas break. So, but yeah, that long ass intro and rant, which I'm sure I'll go on a ton of different rants. But Around the Bar is where you and I are sitting together at a virtual bar, having a drink together and just talking about life. So let me know down in the comments what you're drinking. I'm drinking this definitely alcoholic beverage. It's just a Game Fuel in a red cup because I just coming off of sickness and alcohol's a no for me right now. But you don't have to drink alcohol at a bar. Technically, you can have milk. But I do want to make Around the Bar like have this kind of feel, but also whenever I bring guests on, I want to talk to them for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and but I want half of it to be like sort of like an interview. Like I want to research the people that I have on and really pick their brain. I don't want to just have esports people on. I want to dive into it. I definitely want to have Mike P on, who's a professional battle rap a battle rapper. I also want to have Ronnie Dizon on it, who is a professional paintballer. Like I want to like really just get into like, I want to Phil's on, who's a Minecraft Minecraft YouTuber streamer that has recently in the past month blown the fuck up. And I want to really like research and get and nitpick people's brain and get that that other side, you know, of people's perspective, and rather than this tiny little corner that I'm in where I play Call of Duty and make dick jokes and hang out with other people that play Call of Duty and make dick jokes. So I'm excited. I love researching stuff like that. I did this tiny 3 or 4 episodic podcast series way back in the day called A Conversation With. I did one with Roger and Joe and Aaron and I think Nick as well. And then all the optic stuff went down, so I stopped doing that. And then Philip DeFranco released his podcast series called A Conversation With. So, you know, not going to keep that one going. I thought it was a great name too. And I saw he released it. I was like, well, you know, can't be too mad. Fucking Philip DeFranco, king of YouTube. Wonder who would be the king of YouTube. For me, the easy thing to say is PewDiePie, but I like Phil. I like Philip DeFranco as our king of YouTube. Unless voice doesn't count. All right. Man, the last Around the Bar was Leaving Optic. That's what it was called. Leaving Optic around the... Should I just title this one Joining Optic? Or no? I don't know what I should title it. The Truth. No, that was the... Something clickbaity, but not too clickbaity. Yeah, Leaving Optic was the last one. So it was 2019, like August 2019, something like that. Wow. Let me check actually. Let me actually check. YouTube Hitch a Ride. Oh, by the way, for the 3 of you that care out there, the hardcore Minecraft series, it was a good run. But I don't play Minecraft anymore. Or I don't play Minecraft that much anymore, not on my hardcore world. Oh, I did a conversation with Avalanche too. Avalanche Twitch. Don't play Minecraft that much anymore. And they took forever to edit, man. They took forever. I had a lot of fun editing them, but they took forever to edit. August 30th, 2019. Can't really remember what I said. I hope it was enough. I love you guys. Greenwall forever. That shit's crazy. I was so sad. But I you know, tried to keep it light and positive and looking forward to the future. But August 30th, 2019. X is the GOAT, man. He is. You know, he got Optic back in a year. He always made the jokes like, whenever we get it back, we'll get it back, and you know, all will be right. But he got it back in a year, man. A year. Shit is crazy. That is crazy. A year. Man, I'm I guess, you know, my thoughts on everything as far as that whole, you know, transition is just, you know, I'm sorry I feel bad for the people that, you know, lost their jobs. That really, really sucks. I'm super glad that Mud Dog landed on his feet. He's back home. Whenever I see Mud Dog and I see the Oak Boys, the 100 Thieves logo just belongs on them. And very, very entertaining group of people, and the relationship between the 100 Thieves guys and the Oak Boys, like outside of all this work stuff, is very close as well, very tight knit, and you know, they hang out all the time and stuff. So it's just deserving that they all, you know, go over to 100 Thieves. I'm super excited to see what JCap does as a coach. That's going to be really cool. and Enable's been funny lately, man. He's been funny. I uh I fuck with those guys heavy. Um, but yeah, the transition back has been crazy, man. It's weird because my thought process, my whenever we talked about optic, I talked about this a little bit. I talked about this a little bit in the eavesdrop, but I was kind of over I was kind of over the optic thing, because it took up so much of my brain, and it was all I ever thought about for so long in my life. Prior to even working in optic, optic was all I thought about. Thought about moving it forward, and what I could upload, and what I could the different types of content I could create, and what the green wall wanted, what could further the content of optic. It's all I thought about forever, and optic goes away, and you know it took a while. It took a little while to grieve that. Luckily, luckily, we already had a year of shit prior to that, so it was not as hard as it could have been. But man, what was my thought process there? Luckily, it was not as hard as it could have been. It could have been very difficult to deal with the loss of optic, but it was legitimately all I thought about for a little while. So we finally, or we get past that. Hex joins Energy. We get the Huntsman up. We join Energy, and it's like, okay, now it's head to the fucking ground, and we pound out TST. We mold TST, give it its base, because we were just playing around. I think, in my opinion, we were just playing around before then. Before MW dropped, we were taking a risk and figuring out what worked, figuring out what didn't work, figuring out what people wanted to see. And now in all of 2020 and the late portion of 2019, we were building the base of what we're gonna do for the foreseeable future, possibly for the rest of our lives. I'm not saying we're gonna be dancing here to noodle season when we're 80, but I think this is it. It's going to be TST, and then it's going to be whatever we do as a collective after that, in my opinion. I don't know. I haven't talked to Blake and George that deep of a thought process yet, but I think this is it. It's optic and TST for me. So yeah, optic comes back, and Hex had been trying to get it back so many different times, to the point where every time he tried to get it back again, it's not that I didn't think he was going to get it. I just didn't want to get my hopes up. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Like one time he came over here and he put the 3D printed optic logo, and he put it on the desk right in front of me. Then he looked at me, nodded his head, and walked away. And I was like, that was fucking weird. But that was the day he thought he got it back. Signed papers, documents, lawyers, it was all wrapped up in a nice, neat package, and it still didn't go through that time. I literally just didn't get my hopes up. And while I was busy working on TST, figuring out what we're gonna do, and trying to push us forward, and also while I was busy not getting my hopes up for optic, that optic like passion, I guess, like dwindled. It'll always be there. It'll always be in me. The green wall and the optic, like the passion for OG, but it was dwindling. The fire was, obviously I wasn't on optic anymore, but I kind of forgot. If you don't do something long enough, you kind of forget how it was all going down in the first place, which I never understood. Like whenever I would talk to Big Timer about his old like Call of Duty career, I just couldn't wrap my brain around the fact that like he didn't like either didn't remember, it didn't sound like he even wanted to talk about it, like that type of thing. But now I get it for I get it 100%. And I only did Vision for 2-3 years, and they played Will played COD for 10 years. So I get it. I get it now. But the fire was kind of dying out. And then he finally got it back. And when he got it back, like I knew I saw the announcement video. Roger came here, hired him back on. The COD team was hyped. And it like didn't hit me. Even when I tweeted out like I'm back home, #greenwall, like it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me like that. It wasn't until we started doing content and I started thinking about like the future of Optic, where it just all came rushing back, man. Like all came rushing back, and very few people can meet me with that type of like want and passion for Optic and what Optic could and could be and has been. It's Hex and Roger and Aaron. Hex, Roger, and Aaron. And I live with Aaron, and so there's always that conversation. And it was like talking with the three of them and brainstorming different things that we could do in the future, and who we can pick up, and what type of content we could do, how we can break the mold and really set a new standard for content. Like all I ever wanted when I was on Optic is to push past the reminiscent days of 60/50, where 60/50 is awesome, but I feel like it built such a strong base for what Optic is that it's overwhelming. And it's kind of like a pyramid where the base was so strong, but how Optic grew was just, getting less and less strong or as substantial as the base was. I sound high. I'm not. It gets less and less substantial, but it's people are still there, and they're still watching because they loved the initial surgence of what Optic was. And that's why I feel like Optic's always been that pyramid. Even with Vision was awesome, and Smooth Competition was awesome. The Scuff House was awesome, but none of that could have happened without 60/50. And 60/50 was a different beast. It really was. The content that came out of there, and the growth of Call of Duty and Nade, Hex, and Scump, like that shit is different. Go to Scump's channel, click most popular, Black Ops 2, all of them. It is crazy what that house did. And I always wanted to match it, at least match it, not surpass it per se, but at least match what 60/50 was, so that more people that are watching Optic nowadays and seeing the content that we do nowadays create these new memories where in 5 years from now they'll be like, man, I miss, or I remember when they started doing videos out of the Hex quarters, and I wanted that from the Scuff House, and the Scuff House had some great moments, but I just feel like it's nowhere near what 60/50 was. I always wanted a skyscraper, and it was always a pyramid. But so once the passion, whenever I talk, I can just feel like the passion coming out of it, out of my mouth. But Roger and I will be here from the time I hit stop streaming or start streaming. We'll be here until 3-4 a.m. just talking about what we can do, what the long-term goals, short-term goals, like the different ways that, you know, we can help improve content and how we can get up there with FaZe and 100 Thieves. That's what we want. That's our drive. That's always been my drive, and it's Roger's as well. So you saw, I don't know if you guys saw the chair commercial that Roger did, but that's the quality that he's striving for. I mean, you saw the second he started doing videos. Go back to the Huntsman or the Optic Chicago channel now. Go to the what is it? The Slums video where myself, Seth, Dylan, and Bose play 2v2 on Slums. Watch 3 videos before that and watch 3 videos after. It's a different world. Roger did not come to fuck around. He came to play. And man, I told the people at Infinite, get Roger over here and we can make magic happen. And then they hired Roger, stuck him in LA, and made him film the fucking Overwatch and League of Legends team. And I was like, why'd you hire the dude I wanted you to hire if you put him in LA? So finally, I knew Roger and I would work together at one point. As I talk with him more and more, I do miss the behind the scenes side of it, not holding a camera, not editing. That shit's not going to happen. I mean, maybe holding a camera, I don't know. But I do miss the talking with sponsors, the working shit out, the planning out, different content, planning out tournaments, planning out venues, and where we're going to do different things. And that shit is so dope to me, and it's something that, you know, I even at the Scuff House, like, I never had somebody that could match me with that besides Hex, and it's really cool to have Raj here. All right, enough fucking blowing smoke up Roger's ass, but I'm excited, man. I'm really, really excited about the future of Optic content. I'm back. I'm back into my green wall over everything mentality, and it's just cool that this time around TST is involved. Blake and George are Optic Blake, Optic George, and it just makes me so happy. I think it's finally setting in for the boys that they're in Optic, and I, for some reason, when Optic came back, I prepared for the worst in a way, where I was like, well, you know, we got Optic back, and that's really cool, but I hope people don't, you know, expect some crazy like Vision episode immediately, or that was always my fear at the Scuff House, was that expectations were going to get way too high where we couldn't match it, or we didn't have the ability to match it. And I thought that's what was going to happen here, but it just seems like everybody's just happy. Everybody's just happy. The logo is back where it needs to be. It's back home. And that just feels so good. It really does feel good. So a year since the last Around the Bar. A year. Nothing that big has happened in 2020, right? Just another typical year. 2020, the year without Optic. We were all stuck inside. Coronavirus. It is real. Shit is getting real. TST's growth this year has been nuts. I have stuff written down here if you see me looking down. TST's growth has been crazy. We went on this in we played MW, played GBs, then we played Warzone for a little while whenever Warzone dropped. And then when we went back to playing GB matches in Modern Warfare was around the time when the Huntsman and pretty much all the pro players stopped streaming. It always hits that point of the year when it gets closer to champs, people want to stop streaming their scrims. So they just stopped streaming. And shit just went crazy with TST. And it was all like gifted subs. Like, I used to think it was insane in Blackout when TP would have 1,700 viewers and 17,000 subscribers. I always like did not understand it. And we had our 6 months, 8 months of that. It's died down a lot now. Especially with the Warzone popping and Blackout or Cold War coming out. It's died down a lot now, but for a while it was 10 to 15,000 subscribers every month. And we were still averaging, like, I think it's always been over 1,000 now, but we were averaging like 1,100 to 1,300 viewers, but the gifted subscribers was just outrageous, man. Especially during stimulus week. I was like, you guys are cashing your stimulus checks and spending it on gifted subs. Y'all are nuts. And we encouraged them not to do that, but they did it anyway. So that was crazy. And that was like pretty much half of 2020. People stuck inside. We unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, it's not anybody's fault, but I guess we benefit from that because everyone's inside playing games and watching games. And, we can't travel, so we just stream all day. And that's why these big ass subtrains happen. And then this second half of not second half, but ever since like October, we did this gigantic month of tournaments, and it was all charity, all for charity. We ended up raising over $100,000, which is insane to Movember. But while we were focused on that, the sub count went way down, and we've kind of used this part of TST to really focus on, not worrying about the inflation of gifted subs. Blake really helped me with my mentality a lot on this, because it is hard. It's weird whenever you see 12,000 subscribers and you come back and it's 7 or 6. Because you're like, holy shit, I just lost 6,000 times 5. Oh my god! but even though the sub count has gone down, the viewership continues to rise, and it's not even just the viewership. It's kind of like the credit, the street cred, the substance of what TST is becoming more notable. We went through, we were like one of the first people to hop on this Among Us train, and we were playing with Ninja, Lupo, Jack, Marcel, Valkyrie. Also, quick note, I've said this before. I don't know Ray that well, but I'm super fucking happy for her. Holy shit. She, from an outside perspective, I know she went through a little bit of a rough time in 2020 on top of all the shit that the world was dealing with. And then either during or right after that rough time she had, she switched from Twitch to YouTube, and she was the one who did it, and everybody and not everybody, but it wasn't a guarantee. I mean, Jack switches. That's cool. Ninja switches to Mixer. Shroud goes to Mixer. She goes to YouTube, and people are like, I'm glad you got. I'm glad you. My thought was, I'm glad she got a bag to go to YouTube. It is a risk. I knew it was a risk. Everyone knew it was a risk, but she has taken that platform and taken this perfect storm of what Among Us is, and her chemistry with all the offline guys and gals, and she's like the biggest streamer in the fucking world. It's inspiring, man. Shit, I love stuff like that. So I just had to say that really quick. Shout out to Ray I think she got content creator or streamer of the year, and she fucking deserved it. Nobody else deserved it as much as she did. So yeah, we hop on that Among Us train. Played with with Toast, Ikuno, all those guys. Then October, that was late November, September, late September. I don't know my months. Late September, we're on this Among Us train, and after this, we go from that Among Us train straight into October, where we focus on Call of Duty tournaments the whole month. And while we do that, we stop playing Among Us. It reminds me a lot of 2018 when I stopped playing Fortnite. Not that I didn't love Fortnite. I didn't hate Fortnite. I really didn't. I troll and say that I did, but I really didn't hate Fortnite. I just didn't play it. And look at everyone that did play it. They're fucking millionaires. And it was something that I had to deal with, because I was like, that was when I had just started becoming a content creator after being fired from being a videographer. I was like, well, like I kind of kicked myself all 2019. Like, man, look, I could have just pushed through. I could have played Fortnite. Could have made, could have created some content on Fortnite, and who knows what would have happened. Blake and George never had that mentality. When Blake and George started TST, and even prior to when we were playing TST matches in the Scuff House, it was very much like, oh, I'm going to play what I like to play, like any normal human being does. I'm going to play what I like to play, and if I don't like to play it, then it's boring and nobody wants to watch it if I don't like it. Which is, I think, what most people think about. That's what streaming is going into it. But it wasn't. It's not that way. And I said, whenever Blake and George were here last, we were going through all the people's content that we played with. Marcel's content, Ninja's content, Ray, Toast, everyone that we played with, Lupo. And then we went through people that weren't big prior to Among Us, and then who has blown up from Among Us, like 5 Up, Puffer, like people like that. And I was like, that was us. If we didn't stop playing, that shit was us. And I think it hit home with Blake and George, and it definitely is not their fault. It's all it's nobody's fault. It's what I'm just saying. I don't think we hit Among Us as hard as we should have. As hard as definitely not as hard as we could have. But it was the first time we had ever collaborated. And we go from never collabing except playing Fall Guys with Marcel and sometimes Jack, never collabing, to playing a 10-player game with 7 people that we don't know. It's difficult, and it's daunting, and it's a lot easier to just play 3v3s with your boys. And that's what we did. And I feel like we missed out on something. But we know next time when that door opens itself, we're gonna fucking fly through it. Whether that be, and even though Aaron's been trying to get me to open Pokemon cards, I accidentally opened Warzone. Mute that just to make sure. So yeah, I feel like our mentality, I know I'm ranting, but I feel like our mentality on TST, like the three of us, has been a lot better. We're learning a lot. We're starting to play the game that is, content creation. Let me exit out of Warzone. That is content, playing the game that is content creation, are the business side of things. We're actually like official now. Like Not that we weren't before, but we've figured all of that out. It's running smoothly. We've got an agency. We've got we got our own shit too, like where we talk to people directly. So the financial part of it is going well, and the breakdown is going well, and Blake's wife is helping manage all the money. Like it's perfect. It's perfect. I'm so happy with TST and where we are now, and I've gotten Blake to the point where because I've talked about it a lot, that talking with Jack, especially Jack more than anybody, just helped me learn how all this shit works. How you got to check the social blades and the thumbnails and the titles and who's playing what game and how they're playing it, and in different ways you can play whatever game is popular. Like Jack watches everybody. He knows who blows up. He knows why they blow up, and he tries to hit that. And I've always wanted to be that way, so I've always thought about it, but I'm in a team of 3, so it's a little bit more difficult to explain it. The first time I explained it, we got True as a full-time editor, because I was like, hey, we need to hit YouTube very hard. And then now Blake's coming to me with stuff, and it feels great, man. He's like, look at Ludwig's the Ludwig's video here, and this is like the entertaining part of that, and we could do this and we could do that with Call of Duty or Minecraft. And like we're really into it now. Really, it's not just, hey, let's get on and play GBs. We're a COD streamer. Like we're trying to take TST to the next level. I really want to win. I want to win a content creator of the year, Team Summertime. I want to win a esports award, like a creator of the year or a streamy or something. Eventually in life, I'd love to do that. Once they keep going down the list every year and giving them to other people, I'd love to stand up there with Blake and George. That'd be fucking incredible. But that's where our mindset is. Nothing below the top is what we're shooting for. Very grateful with everything that we have, and that all this stuff worked to begin with. Oh my God. Warzone did not exit out. Very blessed to be here at all, but that's not going to stop us from trying to meet our potential or the potential that we think we have. I'm really excited. Really, really, really excited about that. Fuck. 2020 was crazy, man. Especially in my personal life, it was nuts too, man. It's not been a good year. It really hasn't. Like, I've had a tendency this year to grind out streaming, and that's because that's the only time where I can just let go. I don't have to think about stuff. My health, I let it. Didn't pay attention to it as much as I should have. And I'm just now getting around to doing that again, to eating better and exercising, and actually going to the doctor and starting to figure all this stuff out. Also, my mental health has been pretty good. There's been a couple rough times throughout this year. I've probably been the angriest I've ever been in my life was at a point this year, which I'm really glad I was able to work through that and figure some stuff out, about myself and learn a lot of lessons there. And also, I had a lot of loss this year. Both my grandparents passed away within the same month, which was pretty tough, and my cousin, he passed away pretty tragically too, this year. And it's just been hard. It's hard to see my family go through that, especially during such a hard time. And my family's kind of strange. We're really hard at expressing how we feel. So sometimes we bottle a lot of it up, and I just hope they're, I go through a lot of times where I worry about them, and I hope they're doing all right. I'm excited to go home and finish out this year with a nice Christmas break and hang out with my mom, and hopefully we could it's just 2020 was just such a shitty year, man. Such a shitty year. It's been a hard year, especially for I would say my mom as well. Trying to be a teacher. She's a school teacher. She has to teach, and she's been tossed around everywhere. Like, she had to teach from home, and then she had to go to school to teach, but she didn't have students. She had to drive herself to school so that she could teach online. And then they finally got students, and then they were going to take the students away. And it's just like, being a teacher in 2020, man, I feel for all the teachers. That just really sucks. And then you put on top of, you got to deal with parents, and the parents don't enforce the kids to go to class, aka open a laptop. And then on top of that, both of her parents are sick, and she's driving back and forth to take care of them, and then they both pass away. I mean, it was just oh man, it was just a lot has happened, and I guess I'm just sitting here reliving it because I feel like I've been in my own box this year, and I forget about all the other stuff that happens outside of it. So I know that's all this stuff is just one person's perspective of 2020, and I know everyone out there had there's probably thousands of people watching this video that had an equally shitty 2020. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but hopefully all this stuff gets figured out. I feel like there's so much hate in the world this year too. 2020, we're quarantined, we're dealing with a lot of sickness and a lot of illness and a lot of heartbreak this year. And then on top of that, everyone fucking hates each other this year. I also learned a lot, in that aspect too, about what's going on in the world, and a lot of stuff that I was too privileged to see or to think about, or that wasn't necessarily the case whenever in the community that I was raised in. But got to see things from a bigger perspective and see the world. And I did a lot of thinking and a lot of I came to a lot of realizations this year and about how I view the world and how I view people. And I feel like a lot of people have grown, and I mean, it is just insane what all has happened this year. I was not going to spend this much time talking about 2020, but good God, man. And the crazy thing is we think whenever January hits, that is just all going to go away. Oh, it's 2021. Everything's changed. Ain't nothing changed but the day. 2021 might suck too. Hopefully not as bad though. Hopefully not as bad. That's what we'll leave that. Let's talk Call of Duty. Cold War's released. Cold War has been released. It's been a month and a few days, and every content creator that is not a professional player has left the game in less than a month. Damn. More people are going to play Cyberpunk for a month than Cold War. It was like Symphony was playing and we were like, come on, baby. keep playing. I was praying he didn't get dark matter for another month. That was the only motherfucker playing. Everybody else was playing zombies. It's a good ass game, man. It's a great game. It's just I will say Modern Warfare was a terrible, horrific competitive game. But the public side of it, I can understand the appeal. It was the first good boots on the ground game that felt like Call of Duty, because Black Ops 4 still felt like a jetpack game, in my opinion. It was fun though, fucking fun. So Modern Warfare comes out, it feels like an old school Modern Warfare. A lot of camping, like there was in COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. A lot of gun on gun gameplay, score streak or kill streaks come back, all that stuff. And it had that feel. It had a lot of people played it. And then Warzone comes out, and Warzone is the shock of the century with how fucking good it is. Because I didn't hear a peep about the next Battle Royale that they were going to release until Warzone came out. And I was like, well, this thing's about to suck because they haven't promoted it at all. And then it was amazing. So the shock of Warzone comes out, and that's a really good thing. So I can understand how public players liked Modern Warfare. Competitive wise, Cold War might be the best competitive COD that we will have had since Black Ops 2, in my opinion. The potential is there. But publicly, it struggles very badly. It's frustrating because at first I was like, this game is a million times better. That's how I felt. But I'm just viewing things from a competitive sense. I'm like, wow, I would rather play Cold War over MW 12 days out of the week because the competitiveness, the respawn is good, Dead Silence is back, kind of. The movement isn't slide cancel, see who can camera a corner better. But the lack of quality maps on top of the unbelievably intense skill-based matchmaking that Activision has implemented in the last couple of Call of Duties, on top of the fact that there's not really like spice that you can add. The sniping is super easy, especially in Search and Destroy. So it's not, seeing somebody get like a crazy clutch when they hard scope flinch resist every kill. You're not gonna go viral. But like those days of Noah J, Wildcat, Nogla, Marcel, all of them hopping into a Search and Destroy lobby and making content out of that, it's not there. There are no riot shields. There are no final kill cams. Or the only spicy thing you can do is a combat axe. And nobody's uploading pub gameplay because you can't. They literally don't want you to. It seems, because of skill-based matchmaking, to the point where, Fortunate and Korean Savage, these people are openly talking about how they reverse boost and how they have to reverse boost in order to get a gameplay to make a career. Which I respect them for being so. Not that Fortunate does it all the time, but he has in certain videos. but in order just to get gameplay. And it's like, I don't get it, man. It makes me sick. It makes me actually not like stomach sick, but like it hurts my chest and my brain to think that Activision. I love you, Activision. I love you, especially I love you, Treyarch. But to think that all these guys watched the Black Ops 2 and the Ghosts era of Call of Duty, and I have to put myself out of the competitive standpoint, which I have to remind myself that so often. But you see these gameplays, and it's the biggest. You see content, and I'm going to rope in esports with content for sake of argument, because a lot of content from those 2 years were from esports. You see how big of a deal all that was. How many viewers are watching streams, are watching YouTube videos, are watching tournaments live. I mean, whether that's literally anybody from the most competitive players, like Scump and Nadeshot and Black Ops 2 Ghosts, versus the most casual players, or the casual side of things, Drifter, T. Martin, Pomage, they're all getting views. Dumb, huge, crazy numbers. And the player count is fucking huge, especially for Black Ops 2. And then you basically take all that away. Unless you are trying your absolute hardest, you're not going to be able to get, you either have to get super lucky, or you're not going to be able to get a casual gameplay, or you're not going to be able to casually create content playing Cold War. And that is what has taken everyone out of the game. And I will say, this is biased, but I believe it to be true. I don't know the back end numbers of games, obviously, that because Activision hides them. But I will say that content creators are the biggest, are the most important thing to promote a game. And I don't know how that a game is going to have its core audience. Apex still thrives within its core audience. Fortnite still thrives. Call of Duty still thrives within its core audience. But in order to hit those 2018 Fortnite numbers, in order to hit the 2020 Among Us numbers, you have to make it fun to create content around. It should be the first thing that you think of. And to go and click on Cold War and see the top 3 Scump Formal Envoy already, and it's been a month. Oh, it hurts, man. It hurts. It's a fucking great game. But it's like, if you're going to keep skill-based matchmaking that intense ingrained in games, at least give us a competitive playlist so that content can be made out of there. I mean, League play would be what kept content creators around, I believe, in Cold War. Man, the gameplay is so good. I think it's so good. It feels like a Black Ops game. The connection is pretty, rough sometimes, and the maps they're a little tricky. I I wish they would just keep the maps in that have always been in. Just make a list of the top 8 maps of all time. You could even do top 5 maps for each developer. Every single year for an Infinity Ward game, High Rise, Invasion, Scrapyard, Strike. Just go down the list. Every year, release it. But they're recycling maps. Why would you recycle maps and not just make new good maps? I agree with you. But time and time again, we don't get maps that play like Call of Duty. I don't mind Garrison. I think Miami is gorgeous. I think Moscow is probably the best map in the game because it plays the most like a Call of Duty map. But it was like as soon as they released Raid and I got on Raid and walked around and spawned in and started playing the map, it felt like Call of Duty. It felt like Call of Duty should feel. And it just goes to show that maps are such a huge part of the game. It's such a huge deciding factor whether a game is good or bad. Thank God we're back to 4v4 though. 4v4 is so much better to watch. And it's so much better to watch. But yeah, who knows? Who knows with Cold War? I like the Warzone integration. You know, everybody's back on Warzone, so at least they're in the Call of Duty family. Can't complain about that. Hopefully people, you know, that watch Cold War or watch Warzone will randomly see that the Cold War tournament is going on and go over there and click on it. So at least they're in the Call of Duty family. Warzone's probably the biggest BR in the world right now, content wise. You know, probably competing with Fortnite. But I think it's going to be a good year. It really, really sucks that this year seems like it's going to be online. Because I watched the guys scrim over the past 2 days because I like watching COD again. It's fucking crazy. They scrimmed Dallas 2 days ago on Hook's host. I believe it was one of their hosts. They got mollywomped, smacked, bamboozled, shiton. And then the next day, yesterday, they scrimmed Dallas again on Dylan's host, and they smacked Dallas. So if that doesn't go, I mean, that doesn't tell you right there. And especially in a Treyarch game, like host is going to be like online in general. It doesn't really have to do with hosts because they'll have dedicated servers and stuff. But online is just, it's tough, man. It's tough. Hopefully, I really hope there's going to be a bubble at some point this year, just to see that. And then it sucks. I mean, there's no way there's going to be fan events. There's no way. That's where my head's at. Preparing for the worst. There's no way there's going to be fan events or live events with fans there. And that really sucks for this year, man. That really does suck. Optic's back. There's a good competitive game. Hopefully they release League Play and get more hype around competitive Call of Duty. I say they should just release Slums and Standoff. Fuck it. Just do it. Just release Slums and Standoff, man. It would be an amazing game. It would be an amazing game. Because all I've been doing is playing Raid. Because it feels like COD. It's a nice square round map, not like a little tiny. Dude, Garrison feels like an alley. It feels like a hallway. 3 different hallways. Yeah, it's a 3-lane map, but each lane is this big. It literally feels like it feels like a gunfight map. But hey, what do I know? I can't design that shit. I do love Cold War. But right now, with the integration of PC, as far as TST is concerned, with the integration of PC and skill-based matchmaking in pubs and hackers on tournaments sites, and the fact that we've played 45 GBs, and we have not had a competitive match, a competitive GB, I think in 2 weeks. We beat the brakes off of everyone we play in GBs, and we can't play tournaments because Blake especially, love him to death, but he cannot handle if he thinks we're getting cheated on. Like if somebody's seeing through walls and stuff, which a lot of times they are, but it's not like oh, that guy's cheating, this is stupid. Let's just play the next one. It literally ruins Blake's night. So we had to stop doing that. And so then we'll play. We're focusing on collabing, but the only person so far that is even interested in playing GBs is Doc. So we play with Doc, and it's just pretty much there's nothing else to make. There's no other content to make. So we've kind of stepped away a little bit from Cold War. We will still play it every week, a couple times every week, but there's just not that drive. All the stylish stuff that we can do, we've already done. Blake's hit the no scope. The throwing knife has happened. The 3-piece clutch has happened. The ninja diffuse has happened multiple times already. But you can't wallbang in this game. The way the maps play, there's not really like a 3-piece stylish opportunity that many times as for how we used to play, how we played GPs in the past. So it's kind of interesting. Right now, I think we're all really excited to hear more information on league play. And then maybe play in some of these big tournaments, organize the big tournaments. Those are going to be fun. But we got to figure we're figuring other stuff out, because Cold War from a content side is just very lacking, and content deals directly with how the public perceives Cold War. But on the competitive side, I think it's going to thrive. So it's like the reverse MW. Now that I've talked my fucking ear off about that. But yeah, what do you guys think of Cold War? Because I've heard two different sides. Like I can see both sides, but there's people like Marcel who says, Marcel and Jack, or maybe not Jack, but Marcel especially is very vocal. He'll say like, fuck this game. This game is a piece of shit. And then there's people like Marksman and Hex that are like, how can anyone dislike this game? I don't understand how people dislike this game. Do you really think that MW is better? And I really can see both sides, because I am so excited for MW. I'm sorry, I'm so excited for Cold War competitive, but currently I have no drive to play Cold War. It's really weird. It's like a game that I really like, but I don't want to play. I've never had that before, but that's where we're at. Finally, just switching gears for a little bit. Mako just left the mob. Well, he didn't leave the mob. He didn't leave 100 Thieves, but he might be one of the first people that I've seen that just said, fuck this. I don't like this. I don't like content creation. I don't like Twitter. I don't like social media. I don't like what this has all become, or what I've become from it. So I'm out. And he dipped. I feel for him because he seemed like he seems like he's been having a real rough time. I love Mako, man. I love the mob. I love Mako. It seems like they're all really growing from this. Um, they're always gonna be goofy, but those days of like never taking the mob serious, I think those are over. I mean, it seems like over this past year, they've grown a fucking lot, and I'm so proud of them. Um, Proud of their work ethic, what they bring to 100 Thieves, and the relationship that they have with each other. As you know, it seems from the outside, um, seems to be going well, and it seems like they're growing as people together. I'm so proud of them. Um, and it takes a lot of guts to say you don't like this. It takes a lot of guts because there are so many people out there in the world that would love this. But there are people that get thrown into this or find themselves in in this community and in this system that is making a living basically off of social media. Um, and they're like, and they get lost in it, and they don't like it, and the pressure gets to them. And I mean, I think these are all things. I might be talking out of line here, but I think these are all things that made Hutch retire when he was the fucking biggest thing on the internet. He just said, I don't like it anymore. It doesn't make me happy, and the pressure's too high, and I gotta leave. He left Machinima and took a year off, then came back, and now he's found his lane, and he's found his what makes him comfortable. I feel like I've got friends on our side in Optic that have dealt with similarly the same thing. Right now, we've got one of my best friends in Optic is really struggling right now, and it's hard to it's hard to be there for someone who doesn't really want any part of what all is happening. And hard to talk about. The best you can do is just try to be there when they need you to be there. Prayers, thoughts, setting up opportunities if they need them, and if they want to take them, they can, and if they don't, then it's no harm, no foul. But I applaud Mako for heading out and doing his own, and he said he's going to therapy, and gotta look out for yourself, man. If there's anything I learned whenever my life legitimately turned on its head, is that the number one person to look out for is yourself. It's not even like a cliche. It sounds obvious, but so many people get caught up in worrying about everyone else, and worrying what everyone else thinks of them and what they will do and what they do, and not being able to change what they do because they're worried about what other people, how it is going to affect other people. And everything you do affects other people. So it's inevitable that something you do is going to help someone, something you do is going to hurt someone. It's just inevitable. But what's most important is looking out for yourself, because some people don't. And that's when it gets overwhelming, and that's when the mental health goes down, and then I lived through it, man. It sucks. It really sucks. I know I'm all over the place, but it's hard to talk about some of this shit. It's I mean, I've been praying for Mako, man. I think he's a awesome guy. Love those guys. I wish him nothing but the best, and I you know, I hope he keeps in contact with those three, and I hope those three, you know, continue to succeed, and continue um to live out their dreams, because it is their dreams. Um, and I, you know, it was also awesome to see the entire community behind his back too, the entire community, all everyone, because that's something that I don't think I've ever seen before. Is someone that's just like, hey, like, I'm so sorry, but I hate all of this, and you know, I hope that doesn't hurt any of you guys' feelings, but I'm out. It's no, I mean, I can't imagine the pressure of trying to do that. So, um, enough ranting on that. But love that guy. Really do love that guy. So the future of Around the Bar Optic, the future of Hitch a Ride, the YouTube channel. It also, isn't it sad that I took Optic out of my name when I was verified on YouTube? I didn't change. I didn't change my URL. I didn't change. It was always twitch.tv/hitcheride, but just my name, kind of like on Twitter, where you have your @ and then you have your name and you can change your name. But it doesn't change your @ I changed my name on YouTube from Optic Hitch to just Hitch. And when I did, I lost my verification. I don't know why. And then when I messaged YouTube to try to get my verification back, they said I had to apply for it. I was like, what? Can't you just hit like backspace? And then on top of that, a year later, I got Optic back in my name. So fucking hell, dude. I could have just left it. It's the last time I ever change anything if I'm verified without asking 6 people, hey, if I do this, will I become unverified? But yeah, so this, you know, this channel has been left pretty dormant since the last Around the Bar, except for those 4 Minecraft videos, which you should watch them. They're pretty good. But you know, it's also done forever, so don't get your hopes up. But I really want this to be the next thing. I want Around the Bar to be my next focus, to the point where I waited so long. I was like, maybe I should wait till I get surgery to start a podcast. Maybe I should wait till I build a set, or maybe till COVID's over. And then I watched Joe Rogan's like 3rd episode ever, and it's on like a 360p camera, and he's on his couch smoking weed with somebody else, and they're using the webcam mic or something. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't need to start perfect. I can just go for it. So yeah, I mean, I want to start having guests on and talking to people, and you know, using this as a place where I can just you know, maybe do these solo ones still. They'll probably stay here. But I'm excited, man. I love doing podcasts. You know, I do miss the Flycast. It was a lot of people's favorite. A lot of people's favorite podcast. That sounded so cocky. A lot of people have told me that it was their favorite podcast, and they still listen to them. And I want to take the passion that I had for that and put that into Around the Bar. Also not opposed to the Flycast coming back, but if the Flycast comes back, I'm not doing anything but sitting in the chair. So once Nick gets better and comes back to us with his fucking beautiful tail, and I'm gonna tell him, and be like, yo, figure all that shit out. I will come in. I will sit down. You can edit it. You can upload it. but those days of me doing all that shit is over. Oh man. Yeah, keep keep Nick in your thoughts and prayers as well. That's my fucking dude. I love that guy. So the future of Optic, I touched on it a little bit ago while I was talking about hanging out with Roger. The future of Optic is we're just gonna keep going. A lot of stuff is still happening behind the scenes. And once those few things happen, then it's time to hit the ground running. And I'm in it. I'm literally in it. I even told Roger that I would love I don't even want to fuck it, I'll say it. I told Roger that we could, if a documentary series comes back and if they want to call it Vision, I got to be involved. I'm probably not going to edit, or I'm definitely not going to edit. I'm probably not going to film, but I want to be a part of the process, because the feeling of watching a Vision, having no idea what's on it, is, for me, was fucking horrible. I hated it. So I don't think it would. I mean, it wouldn't be me like executive producing or anything, because I'm just so hesitant on doing that, because I don't want to take any credit away from the amazing work that Roger, Matt, and Josefo are doing, because they are carrying the shit right now. They're a 3-person team. Look at the viewership that they get in comparison to other people's esports teams and media teams that have 12 overpaid videographers and they're getting 1/12 of the views. These 3 are fucking tanks, and I'd love to be the 3.5. You know, there's a dick joke in there somewhere. I'd love to help out and be a part of that. I'd love to be involved in the sponsored meetings where we talk about what content we're going to produce for which sponsor, and weekly or monthly content meetings. Like I want to be involved in that part. I don't want to just show up and do and eat my jalapeno pepper and then leave. That was the worst video ever. Yeah, the future of this channel as well is not just around the bar, even though I want to make it consistent, eventually get to a point where it's once weekly. But those not vlogs, don't even say the fucking V word, either V word, Vision or vlogs. Vlogs aren't happening, because I'm not at a point where I can go and force myself to do something just to film it, like stream 6 to 8 hours a day. I'm not doing that shit. But those little challenge type videos that I've done in the past, like I just recorded one where it's Optic. Does Optic know Optic? Where I ask Hex 4 questions about himself, and also, do you know your duo? I've got one already written out with Seth and Dylan. But Optic's back, so that content that helped start Optic and create the powerhouse of what Optic was, I got to start doing that shit again. It's not for the viewership of my channel. It's not for the financial gain of my channel. It's not to blow up Hitch a Ride YouTube. It's because Optic is back. You guys, I'm not going to let you guys take the 2 videos a week we upload on Optic Chicago and Hex's vlogs whenever he's vlogging. Not just going to be those 2. We got to bring some of this other spice back into the Optic content life. So I'm gonna try my best, man. Hopefully aiming for one around the bar a week, and maybe 1 or 2 of those content of that style content as well. But That's where I'm at right now, man. I know I talked a lot, hit a lot of points and way over analyzed other points, but that's pretty much where we're at. Yearly around the bar. Whatever I'm going to title this. I appreciate you guys listening to, this crazy guy talk and get deeper than I probably ever have in a podcast. And we'll see you next time. All right. I don't know how to end this, but if you guys have any idea of who I should have on as someone that is not a part of the internal Call of Duty side of things, because obviously the first couple episodes are probably going to be Hex, Scump, God Team, maybe TST, but I do want to expand off of that. So let me know if you guys have anybody that you would be interesting to interview / podcast with. Thank you guys. That's gonna do it. Bye.